Hello, and welcome to our second SEPAC Summer School session, all about the tools that SEPACs use. This workshop or this presentation is entitled, What's in Your SEPAC Toolbox? My name is Leslie. I'm a project director at the Federation for Children with Special Needs. So for those of you who are new to the Federation, we are a nonprofit based in Boston. We are the federally funded Parent Training and Information Center, and our mission is to empower families and CPAC. So we will get started with the learning for today. Our objectives are to review the tools that CPACs use. CPACs are special education parent advisory councils here in Massachusetts. We're going to talk a little bit about the roles that people can play in a CPAC. There's lots of things for everyone to do. We'll explore some of the communication tools, calendars, and using workshops as a tool to get people to participate in the CPAC. We're going to learn a little bit about data, budgeting, some of your funding options, and how to document your CPAC, both the activities and work with partnerships, because more is better. And so by involving more people, we build our CPAC. And at the end, I'll talk a little bit about MassPAC membership benefits and the tools that we have on our website. So one place that CPACs can start, a tool that they can use, is to develop a mission statement. It's not required, but a clear mission kind of keeps you on track. It helps you fulfill your duties under the law, which here in Massachusetts are advising the school committee and the district administration, meeting regularly with school officials, and participating in the planning, development, and evaluation of special education programs. There can be other areas where your CPAC would like to focus. Many CPACs support disability awareness, some type of family support group, or promote inclusion within the district. A CPAC can also set annual goals. I just want to advise everyone to be realistic about what you hope to accomplish in any given year. Sometimes you can have a goal that might take a little longer than a 1 year's time. I think the takeaway around having a mission statement is that the community will understand the role that you play within the school district and might be more comfortable participating in the CPAC, understanding your mission. The law in Massachusetts asks CPACs to outline how they would like to operate, which are functionally bylaws. Bylaws are a tool. They provide that stable structure or framework for the work that you do. Your bylaws can define who could be a member, if you're going to have officers and their role, how often you'll meet, what that schedule might look like. It might talk about how decisions by the group are made, and it might set out a process for elections. Any bylaws should be formally adopted. We suggest that if you're revising or adopting new bylaws, that you share them first with the membership, get some feedback, make any suggested or agreed upon changes, and then ultimately the bylaws should be voted on by the membership. Most bylaws include a clause to amend the bylaws because we know at any given time you might change the way you want to operate. I think a best practice is that the CPAC reviews their bylaws every 2 or 3 years just to see if it's currently addressing or talking about the way you are operating. Some CPACs mention Robert's rules or how decisions are made or brought forward in front of the membership. And the National PTA has a really nice summary or tip sheet on Robert's rules if this is something that's new for you. I think the takeaway on bylaws is to keep them simple and easy to understand. They should be readily available for new members so that they can follow the bylaws as they participate in your CPAC. The bylaws can set a method for selecting officers, those elections. They could also talk about, what is the role or the duties of each of the officers. What are the terms of office? It might also outline other CPAC roles, such as whether committees could be formed and who would designate those committees and how they're formed and how long they last. You might have a separate support group, and the bylaws might address that and who the leaders would be and who works on that and arranges those meetings and that function of your group. Some CPACs have liaisons for all the schools within the district so that a parent who's attending that school and is also a CPAC member serve as a liaison between the school and the CPAC. And that role should be defined so that the liaison is acting on behalf of the CPAC in their role in interacting with the school. And there could be other positions that come up. Some CPACs have public relations or media type of roles, website support, all of those other functions that a CPAC does. There may be a formal role defined within the bylaws. I think the takeaway on this is find a job for everyone. All these small tasks get people involved in the work of the CPAC and keep them active and engaged in the work that you do. There are many ways to get the message out. I think CPACs can use a variety of communication tools. The CPAC brochure could be a simple 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that's folded into a brochure that could be available in multiple places throughout the district, in schools, in your local public library. It also can be sent by the district with all of the meeting invitations for the IEP meeting so that every family who is participating in an IEP meeting understands that there's a CPAC within the district. Another way to communicate is to have flyers about meetings, about presentations or workshops or other activities of the CPAC, and those can be posted throughout the schools, community, and also in the greater community. Some CPACs have information on either the district website or have their own website. Just be aware that it's often difficult to update these websites. You need personnel both on the school district side and on the CPAC side to make sure that it's accurate and up to date. And sometimes there's a cost in hosting a website. Many CPACs use social media as a tool, either Facebook or Instagram, to connect, to share resources, to invite people to activities or events. And they find that because it's free, it's easy to manage and get the word out. You can also connect to some of your local media, whether you have a local regional newspaper, cable TV does a lot of public service announcements. So there's a way for you to get some messaging out through local media. And I think the takeaway in this area, in this tool area, is to build your own contact list so that you can directly communicate with those people who want information from the CPAC. So you can start your own either email list or text list so that you can start to connect to your members. I think a really important tool for the CPAC is to have regular meetings and set a calendar so that people are aware when your meetings are. You meet at a certain time, there's expectations. You really should be coordinating those meetings with other district activities, like don't step on the toes of your PTOs or other groups that already have a set meeting date and schedule because some parents want to participate in both groups. So just figure out what would be appropriate. I think you can share agendas in advance to let people know about those issues that are going to come up at a meeting. I think that's a great tool to advise people of the work that you're doing. Your meetings and your invites should be open to all and welcome diverse families. So you may have to work with the district to make sure that it's translated and it's available for the families in your school district. You can poll your membership, do some kind of a quick assessment, ask us a short survey as to what good days or times, whether people want to meet in person or virtual. And that might change from year to year. So it's good to just have a quick survey and use that as a tool to get some feedback from your membership. I think one of the things that uh, CPACs don't do is set up some kind of method, especially within the meeting, of how you would address conflict. It's not so much a tool, but it's an approach as to how to maybe put something on an agenda, but also then address enough time for it, or what you would do in case there's an impasse and you need to come to agreement on an issue. It might mean another meeting or a different type of approach. I hope all CPACs are taking meeting minutes, the notes from the meeting, any decisions that are made, record those, and share those with the membership, perhaps post in a public place. And when you do take on a new role, if you're the secretary of the CPAC, that you pass on good records, that you have either a Google file or a flash drive with all of the information that the next person would need. I think these are great tools to establish the professionalism of your CPAC and the structure so that it can continue and people don't have to search and look for things, because that's just not that efficient and it's no fun. So the takeaway is to really have a plan, use your members' time wisely, make it worthwhile so that when they come to a meeting, it functions well, things are addressed in a timely fashion, and it ends on time, so that people can make plans to participate. I think workshops are a really great tool to bring people to your CPAC. So you can, once again, use a short survey to identify areas, topics of interest of your members. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have workshops. There are lots of low-cost ideas. And I think those are some of the workshops that really speak to the interests of your local membership. So hearing from this administrator of special education at least once a year, preferably in the fall, what changes have been made. There are new programs, new staff, and people could ask questions. There are lots of local professionals who may volunteer to do a workshop. There may be some local agencies. See, they might offer some free programming. You can be a little creative and just, show a film or talk about a book, have a discussion group, share an article, pick a topic, and have somebody present or facilitate a conversation. There's ways to invite maybe a district specialist to come talk about their specialty. I think this needs to be coordinated with the special ed administration, but families really want to know what does occupational therapy look like in the third grade, or physical therapy in the middle school. So, having your local specialists interact with parents and answer questions. I always suggest that CPACs co-host with another CPAC or a parent group. Saves on costs, brings more people to the table, and you have better discussions. Maybe ask a student to participate, share their success story, or a parent, hearing what worked and why. Everyone can learn something at any time. And then I also think that there's areas where families may not have a lot of knowledge, and the district could maybe identify and demonstrate, say, some assistive technology options that are available in the district. There's lots of ways to have workshops without having a huge budget. And I think the takeaway is that this year, MassPAC, the Federation's membership, is having an all-access pass. And so there'll be more options each week for workshops that you can share with your families in your district. I think having data is a really good tool so that you can fulfill your advisory role in talking about, how special education is working within the district. So you need to know a little bit about your school district. So you can always ask your district for whatever public information, not specific numbers, specific information about families, but the general numbers, numbers about the district budget, especially around special education, student enrollment, numbers, and also what are the policies and procedures. So those are all publicly available information that'll help lead you to know, what's working and what's not working within the district and how to get a sense of, where you're at. DESE has school district profiles on their website, and those are available to look at with lots of data there. Our state comes out and does a coordinated program review. It's now it used to be tiered focused monitoring. It's now I think it's integrated monitoring. And then they generate a report and any corrective action plans. And those are available. And so you can use that to see where your district is and what they might be working on in terms of corrective action. There's also another tool on the DESE website around resource allocation. So you can compare district to district. And I think one of the best tools is the understanding, who's in your district, the special education enrollment by disability. What's your largest populations? We're going to have a whole session on data and deep dive into some of these tools. But the takeaway is that you're informed, that you have the data that you need to be that advisor to the school district. Funding. This is always a tough one because most SEPACs do not receive an annual budget, but doesn't mean you can't talk to your district and define what your fiscal needs are. What do you need to spend money on? And they might just provide some of that necessary fiscal support. The law says that they would you'll receive assistance, but it doesn't specify, and that usually means that you can use the school district to meet for free or maybe make copies and use maybe the communication channels, but it doesn't mean direct funding support. You're allowed to set up a separate Friends of a SEPAC nonprofit organization and do some fundraising that way. I would just caution you that that's a whole separate entity. It has some liability. There's record keeping that needs to be done and reporting to both the state and maybe the federal government. So just be aware of that. I don't caution that if you're just starting, that, stick to some more low cost activities. One of the ways that you can do some fundraising or find some funding is partnering with your local PTA or PTO, maybe have a local educational foundation, or even businesses. And they might be able to donate to an existing nonprofit, and just that would be the conduit to support the SEPAC. There could be other types of gifts or in-kind donations. Just figuring out with your school district, what would be appropriate as a group that operates in an advisory role, but also wants to hold some funds, and whether the school district would hold funds for you. Most probably would not, because it's just too difficult because they expend funds on an annual basis and there's no carryover. So I really think that SEPAC should focus, the focus should be on your advisory role and not raising funds, but just maybe look for creative ways to provide funding for some of the things that you want to do. I think connections are one of your best tools. So building those relationships through partnerships, looking for organizations or agencies that are in your local area that help you to maybe share some resources and costs. You can also collaborate with other district parent groups or groups within the district, including student groups. Just look for creative options and opportunities within your community. And I think when you have all of these connections and support and partnerships and you've built these relationships, then if something does come up, you can ask them to support you as you advocate. They can stand behind you. You can come together and you can talk about how to make positive change in the district together. More voices coming together to support student outcomes, because there's strength in numbers and you have more perspectives. So it takes some time, takes a little bit of, maybe bending and working to come up with that collaboration, but I think it's worthwhile in the end. And I think you'll find that this is a really interesting tool in the long run. MassPack also has some tools. So we have a website which will help you understand your role a little bit. And you can walk through some of the SEPAC basic toolkit, some explanations of some of the things that SEPACs do. We do have some templates on the website so that you don't have to reinvent all of these forms, and so that you'll have access to, what are some of these like a minutes, template for minutes or other forms that you might use. We have communication tools at the Federation. So MassPack runs a Google group. We also have a Facebook group, a closed group, and you're able to share information, share resources, ask questions, and just network. Once a month during the school year, the Federation hosts, I think it's the second Thursday of the month at noon, networking meetings for SEPAC officers, our graduates of our parent consultant training, and our special education surrogate parents coming together, talking about issues, maybe having a short presentation, but mostly networking and questions. This spring, I held a roundtable to just invite SEPAC leaders to come and talk about issues. I think we're going to continue that on a quarterly basis, so look for one in the fall. And that's just, drop in, have a discussion, learn some things, ask some questions, and maybe meet somebody else within the SEPAC community. My goal is really to reestablish the regional meetings that used to happen before COVID, because I think a lot of you would gain a lot of support by networking with other SEPACs in your area, especially if you want to host some in-person events like resource fairs or other types of activities. If you're kind of friendly and on a talking basis with other SEPACs as your neighbors, I think it's going to help you, build that inclusive community. So that's the end of the session, and I hope that you will join us next week for another workshop within the SEPAC Summer School.